evening, mate. Welcome to the Friday Facts. And of course, I've got the wonderful, the glorious, the fully awake and well-fed after lunch Mojo with me. How you doing, Mojo?
Hello, I'm awake.
Awake.
Definitely awake.
Yep. So we have Friday Facts 368, the Steam Deck, ghost bugs, and dock improvements, which I gotta say, I was definitely not expecting.
Neither was I. I was like, we're already at another Friday Facts. What is this, pre-1.0 launch?
Yeah.
Where we got them every week.
Yeah. Back in the old days where we had Friday Facts every week, which was glorious. Lovely to get these updates. But, yes. So it does start with, hello, today is actually the 6-year anniversary of Factorio launching on Steam. And we just recently... What?
This hurts. Because I got Factorio just before it came on Steam. It's already that long ago.
Oh yeah, time flies when you're building a factory.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Some people probably haven't slept in those 6 years.
Very likely.
And we just
5 more minutes.
Yeah, 5 more minutes. It's almost done. We just recently, we passed 3 million total sales, and we're even past 3.1 million at this point, so it's quite a milestone. It's great for us. The game is still selling consistently year on year, even though we never take part in sales or bundles. Now, we brought up sales and bundles last Friday Facts. I was going to say last week.
Yes.
But it wasn't last week. Now, for those of you who haven't been watching and following the Friday Facts like myself and Mojo have, they got to 1 million, like, version 16, version 17, or was 0.16,
Somewhere
0.17?
around then, yeah.
Then
part of that was the 1 million celebration.
That was the 1 million celebration, which, actually, that was right when COVID came out, wasn't it? Because they had to cancel it.
That might have been 2 million. Or was it 3 million? I don't know.
3 million's just now.
Yeah, 3 million's now. So COVID would have been 2 million then.
Sure it wasn't the 1 million?
I'm pretty sure 1 million had already been and gone.
We're talking 2 years ago now.
Oh.
We've had 1.0 for a year.
Yeah, that is true.
So I'm pretty sure 1 million was right around when COVID broke out 2 years ago. Okay, we could go look it up now, but let's not do that. Let's just go off our excellent memories. So
No, these are not memories. These are facts. We definitely know what we're talking about.
Okay.
And we're definitely
Look,
accurate.
Mojo has his own screen. He could go look it up right now and correct us all, but he's obviously not going to. So they hit 1 million sales. We were all impressed. We were all impressed. A little indie developer hit 1 million sales. That's not bad. But they were getting towards the finalizing stages towards Factorio. And normally, as games get closer and closer to a final build, the sales per week numbers go up. And the devs have published, their weekly sales, monthly sales, whatever it is. And it's pretty stable. But it took them, they didn't really get past 2 million sales terribly quickly, because it seems like a lot of people already bought Factorio, were going to buy Factorio, had bought Factorio, because it was a top quality early access title. And then, I guess, since 1.0, they've sold another million. And I think the 2 million sales was just after 1.0. I have a feeling.
Yeah. Possibly. I feel like it was earlier than that.
I don't know, you've got another screen. You go to Friday Facts and look up, 1 million sales, 2 million sales, use the search button. Okay, whatever. But
I'm trying to use SteamDB, that's why it's taken too long.
Oh, okay. Yeah, alright, that'll do it. But yeah, 3 million sales, not bad. 3.1, very, very good. I'm sort of surprised. Like, Factorio is a great game. I do have new people drop in my community all the time that have just bought the game, and it's great to see new blood in Factorio. But I'm sort of surprised about the no sales, no bundles. Still. I really think as the expansion comes out, you're going to want to bundle that. You're going to want to have it.
Yeah, that was a point of contention that we talked about last time, is it definitely eating the cost of both at the same time is a lot.
A lot, especially if the first one's going to be 30, the second one's going to be 30. It's $60.
That's like 90, 100 Australian.
Yeah, let's not even talk about Australian dollar dues. We all know they're worthless. So yeah, I wouldn't technically be a sale. It'd be a bundle. And they'd offer the discount off the expansion because they said they never put the original on sale. So, technically, yeah, okay. All right, so on with the news. We have Steam Deck support. Today's the official release date of the Valve Steam Deck. So it seems fitting we might talk about how Factorio performs and what our plans are. Valve was nice enough to send us a dev kit early on. So here's a recent video of me playing the game a little bit. And we're going to turn the video on. And I'm going to skip partly into the video. Because it works. Now, funnily enough, I think
We've seen promotional video with Factorio running several times.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's been some
creators.
eagle-eyed members of the community have pointed out that during an early promo video, Factorio was definitely installed on the Steam Deck, and on top of that, there was, I think, Linus Tech Tips when he did a video.
Yeah,
it was also installed on the library as well. I'm yet to see anybody play it, obviously, but it's one of those games that does have native Linux support. And they do admit that the control scheme is a little bit chunky.
It was never made with the controller in mind.
No. It works, and this is the thing that they're really demonstrating. I'm trying to look for the point where they open a GUI.
Also, 1 million was the midpoint of 2017, which was...
Oh, okay, there you go.
I think 15? 15?
15, 16, somewhere there.
15, I think. And then 2 million was January 2020.
Yeah, COVID, yeah.
So, or before COVID. That was actually before COVID.
Yeah, lockdowns. They were doing the celebration in Feb.
Yeah, that's...
And lockdowns hit, yeah. Oh, there we go, GUI. No GUI?
It also works out that if you have the current FFF number, it's almost 192, which is the 1 million.
Oh, okay.
That's a completely irrelevant and pointless factoid, but I don't know why I divided it. But
it's Mojo and his maths, and he's spent far too much time playing games. Yes. So yeah, they do have a working GUI, but they do go on to explain. Technically, the game works great. Since it's a native Linux build, you don't have to experiment or deal with photon-related issues. Yeah. The battery life is great. In my test, I got 5 hours and 45 minutes of playtime on one charge, on an average base with average screen brightness, which is always good. Performance is good. Any reasonable base should run at 60 FPS and UPS. But, can I add... one player's definition of a reasonable base and another player's definition of a reasonable base is very different.
Yes, they vary quite wildly between players.
Mojo, your last base that you built was how much science per minute? Roughly.
3,600?
Oh, that's a low one.
36,000, sorry.
Oh, sorry, 36,000. Okay.
I had a different number in mind because I've been thinking about some other things lately.
Okay.
Yes, but it could peak at 40,000.
40,000 size per minute. And was it running at 6060?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. What was the last base you had running that was running at 6060?
I think the 8,000 science minute base, just barely.
Okay, so 8,000 science per 8,000 science per minute at 6060. I have seen other players do 11,000 at 6060 without too much hassle, because PCs are getting faster all the time, and Factorio has been optimized through the wazoo. So, a reasonable base? What's a reasonable base? Like, you know, if 8,000 is possible, obviously 2,000 would be easy, right?
That'd be a reasonable base is 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah, look, I'm...
maybe pushing to 4,000.
Look, I'm not even giving you that much credit. I'm going with 1,000. I'm going with 1,000. Also, be very, very light on your mods, because mods use RAM.
Yes.
Yeah, and don't plan on opening up a balancer blueprint that happens to be, you know, 1024 by 1024 balancer, because the Steam Deck's just going to go no, hard no. So yes, it opens a reasonable base. Just your definition and my definition of a reasonable base could vary by a lot.
Yes, it has given me an idea though.
Yeah.
Talking about that, how about 8,000 bases per science save?
So you're going to have 8,000 tiny little bases that produce one science. Oh my god. Efficiency modules. Lots of efficiency modules. But the problem is input. Factorio is designed always only with a mouse and keyboard in mind. If you can connect and play with a mouse and keyboard, you're golden, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the Steam Deck. I would say But considering you have both the Joy-Con and the little touchpad, also, as far as I know, the screen has a touch interface as well. I'm not sure. I haven't followed the Steam Deck at all.
I think it can, but I'm not 100%
Um,
sure.
I'm pretty sure you
I
could play with just a mouse because honestly, the keyboard does shortcuts and WASD, which you could replace with the joystick. Yeah.
You could
So,
also get one of those. I think it's a Logitech. It's a little multimedia wireless keyboard you can get.
I look. There are options. There are definitely
It's like
options,
as
but
big as the Steam Deck itself.
yeah, yeah. I don't think you need a keyboard. That's what I'm saying. I think you just need the mouse. Like they do say, to use the Steam Deck's input, like the video above, you need to make your own controller configuration. Use Steam input, trying to map out the Steam Deck's buttons to keyboard and mouse interactions. Make a good profile will require a lot of patience and a good understanding of Steam Deck's input actions, layers, radical menus, etc. As a proper solution, we're experimenting with bringing proper controller support to Factorio. This will not
That's
only...
the big key element there.
Yeah, it is. It will benefit the Steam Deck, but also those who want to play more casually with a controller. Working expansion is still top priority for the team. The controller support is no easy task, so if it comes to Factorio, expect it much later this year. For now, the game will get some GUI fixes and improvements, so it can be played at 100% GUI scale, even though the small 1280 by 800 screen is below our minimum 1920 by 1080 resolution.
It's
So
a very high minimum.
well, it is, but they've sort of moved with the times. Not many people have a screen under 1080 nowadays.
Yeah, generally,
Um,
it's admittedly it is smaller lower power devices and embedded stuff, which really only use smaller displays now.
look, and those that have still using dated technology, like one of my screens up until 2 weeks ago, it was. Look, I do admit it was the fourth screen plugged into my system, but it was 1024 by 768.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty dated.
well and truly below the minimum specs. Also, it's a 4:3 screen. It wasn't widescreen at all. But it was just a screen to display things, and I wasn't playing games on it, so I didn't give a shit. But yeah, the too long didn't read. If you want to play Factorio on Stream Deck, you don't need to worry about technical limitations, but you'll need some patience either setting up a Steam input or wait to see if Factorio gets proper controller support. So the two things I want to add to this is three things, maybe. I don't know. Technically,
Four things?
maybe. Technically, I think the only thing you need is a mouse. And I know the Steam Deck does have a USB port for charging, which I assume will do data as well. So
I believe you can plug peripherals into it.
yeah, I'm assuming you could get a mouse plugged into it without too much hassle. So that's one option. Second option is, can you share your controller profiles? Like, would they be better off to farm this out to the community and see what the community comes up in the way of controls to play it on a Steam Deck?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's baked into the Steam Deck OS already,
I
because it
really,
seems to
really
be the
hope
way
it
it's
is.
geared. A
Um,
lot of it seems to be set up towards farming out the finer points
to the communities
the end
because
user
look, yeah,
community.
yeah. Look, some people are really, really hardcore, and like I've been onto the Steam forums with many, many different games, and some people like they wrote up guides that go well and truly beyond anything that I've ever seen, and some of them are really good. I don't know why you have the time, the patience to do that, but some people do. Some people enjoy it.
Some people have nothing but time.
Yes, yes, yes. So we are going to see some sort of GUI changes, and that's probably just going to account for lower screen resolution. And as for adding controller support, does that mean, because it's been asked like 1,000 million times, can we get Factorio on? Insert my console here.
It's generally the implication is that it could become a PS5 game, it could become a Switch game, it could become actually it's most likely an Xbox game, if anything.
Xbox should be a direct port. Very, very simple. PlayStation, now that the PlayStation technology is so heavily based on PCs, it should be a fairly easy port. There's not that much custom code anymore, as far as my naive understanding. Switch is a different story entirely. That's still
Yeah,
custom
that's
hardware.
Nintendo. The downside with that is it's Nintendo.
Yeah, yeah. But it might mean that with 1.2 coming out, they might put the time and the resources into going, okay, let's do 1.2, and at the same time, let's launch on the consoles. Like do the PlayStation and the Xbox, because they're the two bigger of the two. Let's be honest, everybody, the very, very casual gamers and children, and those that really need to play on the move, buy the Switches, right? By the Nintendo Gear, because they're really the only ones that have had a portable console for the last, I don't know how many years. A while. Well, the PSP failed.
Uh, Outside of Japan.
Yeah, yeah. The Stream Deck has been well received because there's been no options. That and a Switch, that was it. Uh, um,
Oh, there are other options, but they're
uh,
basically embedded PCs.
yeah, they're a tiny.
And they're low volume boutique things. I can't think of the name of it right now. They've
Yeah,
been going on for a while. They're releasing a new upgraded Model 2 coming up.
yeah, but as you said, they're small boutique things. They're basically a very, very tiny, very, very compact laptop attached to a screen. Right? And the same shape and size as a handheld with controller support and all that sort of stuff, running some sort of weird, same as the Stream Deck is, some sort of Proton something to cut down on an operating system overhead and everything else. So, yeah, the choices have not been great. But on with the Friday Facts. Ghosts and PvP by Guinness. So this is a new person in the whole Woob employment. Yes. And their first Friday Facts. So, Ghost Buildings of
Ah,
Factor.
Aya Neo. Aya Neo was
Yeah.
one of the others. That's basically the equivalent to a Switch or Steam Deck.
Yes. Guinness says Ghost Buildings Factorio are here to help players with their builds automate the construction. However, they can't be seen by other forces. The game usually doesn't care about forces, so players inserter can put items on an enemy transport belt, or electricity poles of different forces can connect to form a single electric network. Combined, this has led to some interesting issues. So one, we have blocking the power transmission. Electric poles are able to connect to everything, disregarding enemy forces. This also used to include enemy ghosts. So an enemy could place a pole between two of your poles and make them connect. It would not only make the players confused, wondering why their middle pole wouldn't connect when they tried to place it, but it also cut off power to their fences. Stealing enemy power is still allowed, but you can't use ghosts for that. And it's a very interesting problem.
That would be interesting if you had a blueprint which was just full of power poles, like medium power poles or small power poles or something, and you just force spammed them in the enemy base.
That would be a nightmare. Because you can't see them, so you can't deconstruct them.
Can they build over the top of them?
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't block construction.
No.
That would be even worse.
No, but it does get to the next point. Block the supply line. When inserters see a ghost at their drop location, they wait until the ghost is built. If you use a line of inserters to transport items, which nobody does, at least they're sane mind, an enemy could place a belt container ghost to disrupt it. So we have the inserters moving along the coal and a ghost belt in the way, and suddenly the inserter chain stops. Which again, super annoying.
For people who are weird and like using inserter chains.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of a practical use of this, but you know, it does exist, yes. And then we have number 3. A long time ago, belts with items on belts with physical ends in which belts move. Sometimes they could get stuck at a player when a player's rotated a belt. So we added logic to collect them. It should have been removed as soon as items on the belt stopped being real entities, but somehow it wasn't noticed until recently. This logic also ran for ghost transport belts, so a player could maliciously ask another player to place an expensive item on the ground and steal it, or to create an instant delivery system where they forget something. This would come in handy, as about all of us keep forgetting items which are on the opposite end of the base, but still, it's fixed. Convincing somebody to take off their power armor and put it on the ground in front of them, I think, is the biggest trick of all. The fact that you can steal it from the other side of the map. That's a whole new level. Yep.
I suppose you could do it if you're map, because you can do this when map viewing.
Yes, that's the thing.
So if someone did, But you don't normally exchange items on the ground. You can directly insert into inventory. There's no need to put it on the ground. It just
Uh,
feels contrived, that one.
unless you're on the other side of the map.
I suppose you could do it to steal if someone has an oopsie and spills all their items on the ground. Just someone watching them hovering over and just ready to go some belts and
Yeah,
rotating
ghost belts and then rotate the belts. And
and pick up their poop before they can.
I wonder, do you have to rotate the belts, or can you just put the belts down facing left to right, and then rotate the ghost belt and place it over the top? Will that just auto pick up everything, or do you have to go through and rotate each piece?
I believe
Things
you
to
have to
test.
I believe you have to do the rotate specifically.
Things to test. Things to test.
Things to test that are already been patched out.
Well, hang on, we haven't got to number 4. Deconstruction of forceless entities. Normally, an entity can only be deconstructed by a force which built it, but a forceless entity, such as rocks, trees, or fish, are a special case. All players should be able to deconstruct them. With the current system, forceless entities can't be marked for deconstruction by 2 forces at once. This is tricky to fix because we don't want to worsen the performance for majority of players who don't play with multiple forces. At the same time, we don't want to make large change in 1.1 as something else might get broken if we do. Nevertheless, we value our players and we're determined to fix this for 1.2, but that's a topic for another time. How often do you have games with 2 different forces? And how often do they both look at the same fish or rock or tree and have to mark it with a decon planner?
I must admit, it's pretty far out there. I wonder if that affect. Oh, no, it won't affect the biter battles. You can still go up and just mine the rock.
You can go up and mine the rock. It's only going to affect you if you have robots. So if you have robots, okay, and something like biter battles where you're on opposite sides of the river, like, so you're never going to go anywhere near their base. If you mass deconstructed everything on the other side of the map, okay, you can't deconstruct the other forces, but you can mark every tree, every rock, every fish for decon, which means they can't have their robots mark them for decon and pick them up. That's the only thing it really affects. But I'm willing to bet if they place an item... Oh, actually, no, because if they place a blueprint over a forest, the forest won't get marked for decon. Because it can't get marked for decon because it's already marked by the other team. So it could be really annoying, actually. Really annoying.
They have to have map view of it already, though, and to know that they're going to put it there. Because you can't mark...
Yeah. But with biter battles, you could throw a fish across the river and get view of the other team. Yeah. But then again, not that many people play PvP. Let's be honest.
It's a very fringe thing.
Or anything with multiple forces. So at the end of the day, okay,
there might be some modded stuff where it's affected with multiple forces, but again, it's the AI isn't going to do it to a player.
Yeah, you need 2 human forces.
You need it's human for human.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, look, if people want to use the feature and they want to have decon available, you just got to set a decon timer for 5 minutes or less. If it's not marked for decon and picked up within 5 minutes, just gets unmarked. And I'm pretty sure you could do that within the API. It might move it from like scenario code being a soft mod to an actual proper mod, but I'm pretty sure it could be done to be patched or mitigated for now.
I think the timeout was only like half an hour.
Decon? No, it's 7...
Or has it been increased again?
7 days, I think.
7 days now.
Yeah, 168
because it used to time out all the time.
It used to time out so fast. It was really annoying because you put down like solar fields and you just blueprint them down. They'll get there eventually. And you come back 2 hours later and go, okay, my blueprint still exists, but every damn tree and rock in the way, it's still in the way. And the bots are just hovering around floating. They've been like that for several hours because we ran out of available bots to put things down because they're all holding things that they can't put down because the things that are marked for decon are no longer marked for decon. Thanks. Yeah, things that have been
and that's where the old blueprint timeout came into play, where
blueprints used to have
it's like a half-hour time limit,
or an hour, and then it got up to
it's like 9 years or something.
No, it got up to like, so it was half hour, an hour, and then it got up to 8 hours, and now it's 168 hours, which is just a tiny bit of time. So then we have another new person over at Woob. We have machine-readable documentation by Theranos, which we have already looked up. He is the lovely guy who actually does the Factory Planner mod, the Assembly Analysis mod, which I've looked at. It's bottleneck on steroids. That's the quickest way to explain it, and also the quick bar import and export. Amazing. So should be a vanilla feature. Like, just let me just have my quick bars just move save to save to save. Okay, please make my life so much easier. Anyway, he has been updating the documentation. I'm Claude, also known as Theranos in these circles. Been at Woob for close to a year now, so basically since 1.0 came out. My primary purpose in life is to take care of Factorio's modding documentation, both on the editorial and the technical side. This means I improve what you read in the docs and how it even gets there in the first place. The first part is basically boils down to a heap of tiny changes all over the documentation, which makes it more useful and nicer to use, but which is not very interesting to talk about here. What's more interesting, one of the technical changes I've implemented, most notably, hence the title, but machine-readable versions of the runtime docs. It enables development tools to present this context to modders when coding, which is great for productivity and avoids constant switching between editor and documentation website. Which
is kind of a pain.
Well, yeah, totally. As far as I know, there have been some third-party tools that sort of do this already, but they're more automated, but they're still manually need to be updated and things. Having it just be straight in machine readable, blah 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 blah, go one, done. That's awesome. And as you can see, because he's a modder, and look, the Factory Planner mod, that has some depth to it. The Assembly Analysis, that has a lot more depth to it, as far as mods and code goes. And Quick Bar Import, Export, it's a pretty easy mod, I would understand. So, yeah, he's written some complex mods and obviously had to do a lot of alt-tabbing back and forth to read the documentation to find the bit he needs to then put in the code, and away we go. So, the initial motivation behind creating this format was just for it to be useful for modders. Once I've dug through the details to create a machine-readable output, though, it was now nice and clean base upon which we could easily build new things. Sometimes alternative uses reveal themselves for something originally made for a single purpose in mind. Sanskrit took the opportunity and built a new docs website using modern web technologies like templates instead of Python string manipulation, which created a sturdy and flexible base to build on the future. So with this part of the documentation overhauled, there is still the other elephant in the room, the data stage docs. So that's when the Factorio first loads up, and mods that you need to restart Factorio to do a change. They're the ones that load in the data stage. They are currently handcrafted and maintained on the wiki, which means there's a lot of effort with maintaining and versioning. I'm working on giving them the same treatment as the runtime docs, which means they'll be phased, and collected directly from the game engine and updated with each release, which saves them a whole heap of time, because Woob, unlike many other developers, actually puts effort into their documentation, which makes modding easier, which is why the game has so many high-quality mods.
Yes.
Because you can write mods with not a lot of skill, and then you can write very, very good mods with a lot of skill.
Or very good mods with not a lot of skill.
Yeah, that too. And that leads us to, because we've had 2 new employees we've spoken about, when 1.0 came out, roughly, Ian Macbeth on Woob's contact page was sort of the last person they'd hired. He did the sound engineering for the artillery that they released in like Friday Facts 190 something, and then still wasn't in the game when like 1.0 was coming out, and I got really, really upset because the sound sounded awesome, and it's the sound we currently hear in here. Yeah.
I remember that.
You
were constantly upset about
it. Yeah, and then one of the devs actually listened to the Friday Facts that we'd done and were like, why is the sound not there? Why? Oh, we forgot to add it. Okay, so that got fixed. So since then,
forgot about that.
Yeah. Arendelle. Arendelle is the guy who makes the space exploration mod. He was hired. Lou, I think, was hired. Jerry Groski was hired. A 3D artist, another 3D artist. We've got some artists coming on. Theranos, who we just spoke about, who's documentation developer and writer, so he just does documentation. Vinez Budis, who was just mentioned in the Friday Facts. Sansku? Is that Sansku? No, maybe. He's the DevOps dude from Germany. So he takes care of the servers and, that sort of stuff. We have another programmer, C4 Art. Yeah. We also have Tobias. Tobias was there originally or new? I can't remember.
Tobias sounds familiar.
Yeah. I'm not sure. And then we have Guinness, who's a programmer who we just spoke about as well. And then Dan, who's Strange Pan, California software engineer. And then, of course, we have Don at the end. I feel Don was maybe an old recruit as well. I'm not sure. But they have had some new team members. Of course, there have been some team members that have left. Who were we talking about earlier? Aaron Stess.
Aaron Stess.
Yeah, yes.
The name was on the tongue, but I just couldn't say it. I was going to say Arundel, but no, that's the other one.
That's the other one, yeah. So he has left. He's gone on and moved on to his own game. Waybags was, again, another one who left to take a corporate...
that's an old one.
Yeah, I think he left to take a corporate job in a cubicle. From memory.
It's such a downgrade.
Well, he was... He wanted a more... He explained it in the Friday Facts. He's like, no, I want...
Yes.
Yeah, I want to have just a nice, boring job. This has been fun. Stability. This has been great. I want stability of 9 to 5, nice and simple regime and everything else, which I understand. So yes, we have had a number of devs get added to the team. A few left post 1.0. But it makes me even more excited for 1.2, which is still, we've guesstimated about another year away. So maybe by then we'll be at 4 million, 5 million sales. Then we'll get the expansion and we can play it on the Steam Deck and, build a reasonable base.
a reasonable 2,000 signs a minute. No, it was a 2,000 bases per science megabase.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. There's Mojo's next playthrough. All right, well, all that said, I think that's where we're going to leave this Friday Facts. Anything you want to
like a good place.
add? No. Okay, great. Done. Oh! There's nothing to stop you playing Factorio on a Stream Deck multiplayer.
Oh, yes. Or even joining a multiplayer game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're probably going to have a bad time
yeah,
if it's an 8,000 bases per science megabase.
Yeah.
Might have some trouble keeping up.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Twinson only has 352 hours of playtime in Factorio. And only 36 out of 38 achievements. That's sad. All right.
That is.
On that sad note there, we're going to leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. We'll see you in the next Friday Facts, whenever they are. Yeah?
Yeah, next week, next month, next year.
Yeah, whenever they are. All right. Thanks for watching. See you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.